afternoon. This is the knitting news from Knit Happens Teesside for the 18th week of 2024. The other night at knitting, Jill has finished one of her lace knits and it's all pinned at home, so she didn't really want to bring it along to a coffee shop and have pins all over the place, so she didn't bring it with her. So she was at that point where you're kind of in project limbo, especially for somebody who's a monogamous knitter, who finishes one thing and then starts another thing, which Jill is. So she had with her some Rowan yarn that was cotton, and she had printed off some patterns from Garn Studio Drops, which is a website online. Obviously it's online. If it's a website, you can get lots of free patterns if you haven't already discovered them, but I'm quite sure a lot of knitters have found Drops. So they do yarn, but all the patterns are free and you can substitute your yarn. And Rowan do yarn, and all your patterns you have to pay for, more or less, but they do some free. And the yarn is very, very quickly discontinued, as far as I'm concerned. In knitting world and how long it takes to actually make things, you can buy a yarn and it's discontinued before you've done anything with it. I have done lots of yarn substitution on Rowan patterns, and I've also made a couple of Drops patterns too, but I find their patterns a little bit complicated. Anyway, back to Jill. She had 5 different patterns, and there was a couple of cardigans, a couple of sort of t-shirty tops, and we all had a look, and I think she came to a final decision, but she didn't have the right needle with her. I don't know if it was the right needle for the main body of the garment, but she wasn't about to do a tension square, so she was okay. So Helen was working on her blanket. She had it with her and I didn't take a picture. So we haven't got a picture of Helen's blanket this week, but that's fine. So in the centre, she wanted to zhuzh it up a bit. And she's done a white, well, it looks like a dahlia. It's very relief. It stands off about maybe 5 centimetres. That's in the middle, and then she's added more things and she's doing more border. Now she's off on an adventure and she's gone to Holland and she's visiting a wool shop, but it isn't the famous wool shop that you may know about that's in Holland, because she's already been to Mr. West's shop 3 times. I don't think she's seen Mr. West, or maybe the first time he might have been there, but she didn't know who he was. I'm not quite sure. So there is another one, and she's going to go there this time. So she will be reporting from Amsterdam sometime soon. I was doing my knitting on my, guess what, Ugly Cat Shawl. And this is the end that I'm working on. It's gone off into a kind of a mustard shade, and I have 2 more sections. So if you imagine that's the other end, I'm here. So, and I'm not fed up with it for some odd reason. I think I'm just loving the fact that it is and like I have tried it. Should I show you? I tried it on ish for a friend the other day, and well, it's not as unwearable as you might think, she says. So, ta-da! So I'll just bunch up. need a coat, will I? Do a couple of poses and see if it gets me. Nearly. So, 2 bits to do on that. Shall I sit down in it? Make me warm and stop my nose from running. Today I am drinking Touch the Ground, or it could be called Here and Jets, which is honeybush, anise and sage, or honeybush, anise and selby. If anybody understands that, you never know, they might. Right, where was I up to? Sitting on my needle. Wouldn't that be just great if my needle came out? Oh, I think we're safe. Yes. I think that might be because these needles being textured. They've really not been dangerously close to falling off any time. Thank you there, you lovely item. I am wearing... Well, it's by Belinda Harris Reid and it's called Gathering Raindrops. But I'm quite sure that the raindrops would probably just go straight through. I bought this as a kit at probably Woolfest or Yarndale. Probably Woolfest, I've been there more. And it's good quality, lovely, soft merino silk or something, I don't know, I can't remember what it is. But it's from Belinda Harris Reid and it's her pattern, and she's a very exuberant, full of character lady who has a fantastic stall when she does these stalls, and she designs all her own patterns and has quite a limited palette of colours. But she also has a knitting hotel. She owns a hotel where she does knitting retreats and workshops and courses for weekends away. Haven't been there, and it is in South Devon, Dawlish, which is quite far from me, but never say never. Might go there one day. You never know, do you? The cat's fine. So update on Millie is Millie's doing good. She's got quite a routine now of sleeping all morning, getting up around lunchtime, having something to eat, going around the garden. That reminds me, I need to give her a tablet. Shall I try my tea? Forgot. It's a bit hot, but it's nice. Very nice. You may have seen Millie having a drink out of the pond if you watched for that long, because my pet bits are at the end because they're not knitting bits. And I've got a new section for you, and it might not be every week. Well, it probably won't be, but I will update you on how things are going. So this section is Pond Life. When our daughter was quite a bit younger, so maybe nearly 20 years ago, I don't know, I'm not that old. I so am. She wanted a pond. So we dug a pond up in the middle of the lawn. Well, at one side a little bit. And we had that pond for quite a few years. And it was the water was quite clean. And we had a miniature lily and some plants planted around it. And then we inherited some fish. So we inherited 2 goldfish. And we also inherited a tench. Right, so we got this pond. And we had these 3 fish. And, well, the 2 goldfish, they just float about on the top. Which was nice, because you could watch them and they weren't bothered. And then the tench, well, he likes to wallow around in the mud at the bottom. And one day a heron must have been in, because they'd suddenly disappeared and there was no signs around the pond of any disruption or anything like maybe as a cat would do. and they'd just gone. So they were heron's dinner, I would say. Wasn't long after that I saw the heron on the rocks on the beach. And there used to be one that used to stand on the seafront every evening, and it on a grassy bit out of well, we have this constant argument about it being a village, but it's a joke. It was a village. Where I live was a village, but it's kind of so big now that it's not really a village size, but it isn't a town, so it must be well, it's just an area of a town. Anyway, back to the fish. Slim Shady is the name of the tench because he's shady and he survived, and we still have him. But the thing is, this pond, trying to get it's not so easy to get your ecosystem in your pond correct. You can get water testing kits, you can get something that you put in to neutralise any chlorine in the tap water if you fill it up with tap water, so that it doesn't make your fish uncomfortable. You can buy particle blaster, that's what we have. So you get like bits of green in the water, and we've also got weed around the sides, and I do clean that, and sludge and mud collects at the bottom. But some sludge and mud is apparently kind of good. And also you can have lots of pebbles and things around the bottom, which create a bigger surface area for healthy bacteria to live on. And also you can put some healthy kind of bacteria in your water. But what I've done, I've had a particularly sort of a difficult week working, and thought I would treat my pond to a new solar water pump. It bubbles oxygen through, so that can only be good. And actually, I've bought this one, which is from Pond Keeper, an oxygenator for the pond, and the panel on this one is a lot more sensitive, so when it's not even sunny outside, you still get bubbles. When it's just daylight, it will bubble. It looks bright behind me now, but so far today has been a bit grim, and it hasn't really been bubbling. But this one has got 2 pipes that go to a box, and then the box has got different controls, and also you can unplug it and take it inside and charge it up with a USB. So if you have rotten weather for quite a while, you can still have your pond bubbling if you so wish. But it's all these things take time, don't they? So I don't know how much I'll do that. I might do it when the pond's in shade before midsummer. But then when it's in shade, there's not that much weed that grows on it. Now, I'm sure you're bored already now if you've got no interest in ponds whatsoever. So the outcome is, I had it on bubbling. It's got 2 bubblers instead of 1 that my old one had bubble. It's like a stone. I didn't want to show you the actual bits and bobs and tell you how to put it together, but somebody should. Stones here at the side. The air comes out of them and just bubbles up to the surface. So it's quite nice to watch as well. You see, the whole point of all of what I've just told you is I haven't seen my fish. Oh, and there's 5 tench. Well, there was 5 tench, but one of them only had 1 eye. And on one occasion, when I was cleaning the bottom of the pond, I've got something else to show you. I caught him. I must have gone from his blind side, and it wasn't that long after that he was floating on the top, so I don't know if I shocked him. So after the goldfish had disappeared, we only had Slim Shady, so I went to the pond shop and I got 5 tench. So we released the tench, and they were swimming around on the top for a few weeks, and now they've all got so shy. I don't even know if the heron's been in. I do see plops in the water when I go out with the washing and things. But the whole point of this is the water quality being better, but also I might be able to see my own fish. Wouldn't that be nice? Because if you can't see them, what's the point of having them? The thing about the pond shop is my daughter used to work there. This is how I have learned about ponds, and she's learned about ponds. So I said, can I have, I did buy the most expensive pump. I used to be the kind of person that budgeted, but it's so much better than the others. Anyway, I said, due to me being Emily's mum, can I have a discount? He said, no, I can't give you a discount, but I can give you a free gift. So I got a floating pond thermometer, because I do know that some of the treatments aren't worth using unless it's the water's over 10 degrees. So I haven't actually tried this yet. I shall have to have a go. And some pond test kits in 6-in-1. Testing the hardness, carbonate, pH, free chlorine, nitrate. And I did ask if it was kind of, well, a man's hobby, just because you imagine an older man, like, being fussed on his pond. But he said no. So I'm not too unusual spending too much money on a pond. I have got enough wool to do me about, I don't know how long it would take me to get through all the wool I've got. So I might as well spend my money on something else. And talking about spending money on knitting, I was watching Fruity Knitting the other day, and there was 2 ladies on there that she was interviewing, and one of them had designed a shawl called the Misty Mountain Shawl, which was lovely, but there's lots of shawl patterns available, isn't there? But she'd also made it into, designed a top using the same, so it was top down, it came down, it was in mohair lace, which I like. And then it had your mountains, and it was a little bit wider like this, but not quite so much. And then it was kind of a summery cover-up, would go over anything and just keep you warm with a bit of mohair. So I had a look online and thought, oh, I might knit that. And the pattern is over £8, which is over $10. And I just thought, I know it's a lot of work, but when you've got like a gazillion patterns in your house, how would you justify spending more money on patterns? And same for the wool. So this blue thing. Now, bearing in mind, I have quite short arms. Take my arm out of here. So these are for cleaning your pond out. Well, I normally just stick my hand in and then give them a good scrub afterwards. These are for cleaning your pond out. The pond is about that big. No, it's not. It's kind of like over a metre, I think. Just. They go right up to my armpit. Hi. And I can't really feel much. If a fish touched it, I don't think I would feel it. But it was good of him, wasn't it? Pond expert might be. I don't know, I think that's their make. But the shop's called Pond Keeper, I think. But it's amazing how much money you can spend on your pond. I mean, it wasn't that expensive, but some of the things in the catalogue, you could spend hundreds. But that's like secret, that's like buying wool and like your other half not knowing how much it costs. My other half and I, we just buy what we want. There's no secrets. Last weekend, on the way home from a couple of days away, we went to Runswick Bay, but it's spelt Runswick, but I think it's Runswick. And we saw some yarn bombing on the post box. And we did find some. It's a lovely bay with all higgledy-piggledy houses. They're built on the rock, but there's steep steps and little passageways between all the houses, and there's no regularity. There's no rows of houses. They're just plonked on wherever people built, and a beautiful one right on the end. The gardens were lovely. There's no road, so there's just little paths. So we had a little explore around there. And then we went down on the beach, and on the beach there's fossils to be had. I think that the point is to, obviously, when you find an ammonite, to get the whole circle. But the bits that I found I was quite happy with and I brought home. So, more news, maybe next week. What do you want?